Good afternoon, class. Today we're going to have a look at Transformers Beast Wars Transmetal Megatron. I believe this was a Voyager size figure, a little bit bigger than a deluxe when it first came out. I can't remember all the scales from Beast Wars anymore. But this is obviously his dinosaur mode, the T-Rex mode. He went from being a big purple Barney dinosaur to being kind of a bronze color with purple highlights. It looks kind of bluish on camera, but it is a purple color. And look at him there. See his hands right there, that's a shame, but can't hide all the robot stuff. His red eyes. Now, this metallic stuff, like anything else that's painted metallic, we can see that some of the paint is chipped here. This figure is probably over 10 years old now. That's how old Beast Wars is, isn't that scary? There's his dinosaur mode. There's a couple of features that we can look at, besides the fact that his tail moves a little bit, which is nice. All the Transmetals, Megatron included, had a vehicular mode that they called their third mode. And I think the writers really kind of cringed at the idea of having to deal with this on the show. But anyways, what Megatron, I wanted to say Barney, what Megatron here can do is that he can have these ports on his side flip up. And in the show, that allowed him to fly, which he did. But the other thing we could do with this, and I think they only really used this in the first episode, they used it in something similar in an episode later on, is that his feet flip up here. Can we do this? Oh. And he's got these wheels, and the idea was that he stays on these wheels, and then these things kind of power him forward, and he can move fast that way. And the writers kind of said, oh god, no, and they decided that these would just let him fly. And here, if we can see that, we've got that rub sign, or the heat sensitive sticker, which will show us his true allegiance. Can we get that there? No, we can't. Hands are too cold. At any rate, we know he's a Predacon. That's our dinosaur mode. I'll put him back with his feet because those wheels are a little bit silly. And so we are going to transform him and see what he looks like in robot mode. So we'll just get rid of that. Let's see what else we can pop these up. This has been a while, so if I really fumble this up, we'll know why. Just in case. Okay. I know this splits apart. There we go. Put these up. There we go. One thing I should point out, I don't know if everyone who has a Megatron, their figure turned out like this, but for being a figure that's so old, that has, you know, seen a little bit of, I don't know if I want to say playtime, but transformation, this figure is actually held up pretty well. Snap that into place, maybe. There we go. And here we have now our Megatron in his robot mode. We've got the shoulder guards here. The piece that holds his tail is right here, and it sits there on his side, and what we can do is we can, you know, put the tail on there so that he doesn't have to hold on to it, although he's kind of dragging it on the floor everywhere. Take that off for a second. Pretty sturdy. Now, in terms of articulation, his head, we're going to be able to turn this all the way around. Oh, the shoulders are on ball joints, but the shoulder guards here make it restrict it maybe a little bit, but not too bad. So we can move that around. He's got rotation there at the arm, and then his elbow bends. Nothing, unfortunately, at the wrist. Same to the other side. The waist doesn't turn, and it's because we have attached it up here. These parts attached to his back, so there's nothing at the waist, which is kind of a shame. If we just unlodge it there, we can actually turn him around a little bit if we want, but then we have this other piece hanging. Kind of a shame. That's okay. See if we can put that back. Can I? There we go. His legs are on the ball joint, so we can move those around, or is it a double joint? Oh, sorry, it's a double joint. It's not a ball joint, so we can move the legs at the hip. We've got rotation at the knee. It'll go all the way around. We can bend this back and forth, and the feet move a little bit if we so desire. So he's not too bad. Now, in terms of accessories, I guess the only one is his tail. And the purpose of this was that it was kind of an attack claw that he could move around. We can open up the handle there, and we can pop it in his hand, maybe. Should be able to do this. There we go. So that he can snap maximal heads off or something. Now, for the writers of the show, they realized, wow, we need Megatron to have a gun, so that's why it would just kind of go straight and he would shoot with it. And the beams came out through the tail. A lot of the Transmetals, no guns to speak of. They all had melee weapons. Plus, I think they had these kind of turned forward and became guns as well, the hands of the T-Rex. Now, if we want, well, we can still flip up these things, but it's not really going to do any good now. In the show, they made it so that he could flip these up closer to his shoulders and he'd be able to fly. And we can still have the wheels for his feet. As we saw one time, it can make it look like he's rollerblading, which I thought was an excellent use of the gimmick from the toy. You know, this is a decent figure. I think nowadays you might see it at toy shows. I don't know about seeing it on eBay because it's going to be pretty old. But it's a nice figure, and it's held together pretty well, considering how old it is. The design is nice, and it looks pretty close to how he looked on the show before he turned into the big scary red dragon. You see this probably would be worth picking up. I mean, some people collect Megatron, others Optimus Prime. If you want to try to get the old Beast Wars figures, I think he's good. For me, probably the best Megatron figure from the line. I liked it better than the large, Leader? Voyager size? I can't remember the class sizes, but the purple dinosaur, and I think it's better than the dragon as well. To me, this is kind of the best Megatron. If I was going to give this figure a grade, you know what? I give it a B+. I like this figure a lot. It's the best Megatron. He looks cool. He looks very close to how he did in the show. And I think he's worth getting. So, I think that is going to wrap up our relatively short review of Transformers Beast Wars Megatron. So, thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.